Yeah, I don't think I need to introduce Shraddha to any of you, but of course I know her from U-Turn and the remake of Pink.
Yes.
So and Vikram Vedha, my God.
Yes.
How can we forget that? So it's so wonderful to have you here, Shraddha.
Thank you, ma'am.
I was just reading up about you, and it struck me that you're a lawyer by training. Fantastic.
I was, and the day I quit it, I erased everything. Like I did a reset, like we do to our phones. But yes, I am a trained lawyer.
Right.
Yeah.
So how did acting happen with you, and what changed your mind?
Acting actually happened to me while I was in law school. 2 years into law school.
In Bangalore, right?
In Bangalore, yes. I realized I didn't love it so much. It looked very, very interesting and very fancy from the outside.
Yeah.
I loved to imagine the look on people's faces when I said, "Hi, I'm a lawyer." I mean, and my parents gave me free rein to pick, whatever I wanted to. So I chose law. But 2 years into it, I realized I wasn't into it so much. It was very dry and very sort of verbose and very bookish. At the same time, this is
It wasn't the kind of thing you see on screen.
Yes, absolutely. There was no drama like you see in the courts on screen. But yeah, I mean, I also always wanted to try my hand at acting. I was always known as the more dramatic kid and just loved to mimic people, etc. So second year of law school, I gave an audition. My friends pushed me. They said, "You have to go because you keep bugging us. You keep saying, what if, what if?" So I went for an audition and that's it. I've been an actor since 2011. So that's 11 years now. 2011 was my audition, and yes, it's been great. I knew that I wanted to act more than anything else.
You also completed your law course.
I did.
And you
I did
practiced as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My parents paid the fees. I said, this is the least I could do. They've taken such great care. So I finished the course. I gave my law job a chance as well. I worked for 2 years as a lawyer, as a property real estate lawyer. And then I'd had enough. I said, if I don't do it now, this is something I will regret. So yeah. It's just made me feel good. It made me feel like I was good at something and that I wanted to improve myself. I could see my growth myself, and that's a great feeling when you yourself see improvement. You see yourself working so hard, and I had not experienced that with law. I felt like a misfit. But when I was rehearsing for a play or with my co-actors, auditioning, I felt like I really belonged there. And it was a drive. There was a drive in me that I had never really experienced before.
Yeah, that's what they say. Follow your passion.
Yeah.
But what is it about army kids? I mean, what is there in their DNA that makes them take to acting so beautifully?
So many army kids,
Yeah,
right? Especially
my God,
girls.
absolutely.
Yeah, we're all over the.
From Priyanka Chopra
Yes.
to Sushmita Sen, I mean, they're just endless numbers.
I don't know. We're raised. I don't know really, but I mean, we're raised in an organization that teaches us to deal with life every day,
Right.
meet new people. I mean, all army kids are raised differently, the kind of exposure we have.
You have to move every 3 years,
Absolutely.
every 2 years.
Yeah, you have new teachers, you have new streets to remember, new school, new uniform. Everything is different every 2
Right.
years.
It's almost like being an actor.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess you're right. You nailed it. I mean, I think that's why we sort of fit in this, this industry so well, because we just so used to wearing a costume, disrobing, and then moving on to another character soon enough. Yeah.
So you began with Kohinoor, but it was your second film, I think, that was U-Turn, if
Yes.
I'm not mistaken, that really hit the bullseye. So we hear so much about how difficult it is to get into movies in any city. I mean, it could be Mumbai, it could be Bangalore, whatever. How it seemed so simple for you. Was it as simple as it seemed, or did you really have to struggle? There was no sleeping on the footpaths or
No.
Train stations or
No,
whatever
no.
for you?
Not under the bridges, no. It wasn't as, dramatic as some people's stories are. Those are really inspiring.
Yeah.
For me, I feel like now this is the point where I start to begin to believe in the unexplained. Like I believe in destiny now. I believe that it all sort of came, sat in my lap, and I just sort of followed what like my gut said. The struggle did happen. I do remember I was working as a lawyer in this company. My salary was peanuts. I would, before my job, early morning, I would go for rehearsal. I would finish my job, go for rehearsal. Even during college, sometimes I would finish college, do an internship, go for rehearsals, take a late night bus. My parents would constantly be asking, where have you reached?
For
What bus stop?
plays?
For plays. So I feel like the struggle started from when I was in college, and even then after I, started working as a lawyer, because I was not happy. I constantly wanted to be acting in plays no matter what. I said, okay, that will keep me sane. So I feel like all that hard work, lack of sleep, I could have like finished a 9 to 6 job and gone home, but I would, wake up early, 5:30 a.m. My mom would pack me like a quick breakfast, finish rehearsals, go to work, finish work, go to rehearsals again. I feel that really paid off. We all wonder, like, did it come easy? Sometimes I wonder, but then I know the answer. I said, I worked hard for this, and somebody out there was watching and said, maybe she deserves it. And that's pretty much, I think, why I am here.
So what was it about U-Turn that you think connected? Of course, it was a remake of, I think, Samantha's U-Turn.
Oh, no, this was the original,
This is the original. I always forget.
Not at all.
So what was it about U-Turn? Because it was such an original movie. And I think it was subsequently remade in, I think it's being remade in Hindi as well now.
Hindi,
if I'm not mistaken.
even foreign languages, really,
So what was it about U-Turn that turned the tide for you?
A lot of people, when I had just entered films, and I was a nobody back then, and people would see me and say, okay, you are acting in films, but your hair is so short, and you look nothing like a heroine.
What are you supposed to look like?
The stereotypical like image that you have of heroines, something that you cannot achieve in real life. You have to be out of the world, otherworldly almost. So I feel like just by casting me, Pawan Kumar, my director, sort of made, prove to people that, hey, you can get an actor who looks so relatable. She could be anybody, and she can act. And then, of course, there were so many things in the film which added to the success of it. But just by writing a really real character who talks normally, who flirts with her colleague and asks him out on a date, he made a woman seem so real. Not like someone's chasing her. She's interested. She goes and talks to him. So I think it's just so relatable. A very real character, someone that you yourself are. And I think that's because I started like that. The path was already sort of there in front of me, laid out. So, like I said, and I remember a senior actor, who watched U-Turn and was praising it. He said he made a girl who wears a helmet, rides a scooter, and spies around and is working on this case. He made her the hero of the film, and we rarely see this stuff. He said, and that's why that's why this film works so much, because you show the audience something that they have not seen thus far.
And even in Pink, although of course Ajit Kumar is the Amitabh Bachchan equivalent, but you're the protagonist, isn't it? That's what sets you apart. I mean, do you consciously go after these roles, or they just follow you?
They follow me. I do get a host of other offers, but where
you have to be the coy, the usual.
I mean, on paper they say she's a very strong role. This movie pivots around her. She's the cause for everything happening in the film. But in reality, when you read on paper, it's just a way for them to sell the film to me. Because if they don't say it, they know I won't even read it. But when I do read it, I find no depth in it. So
what is it usually? 2 songs? A scene, whatever?
Nothing that adds value to the film, really. Like, even if people watched it and someone just like sort of removed that character from the equation, people wouldn't even remember, oh, she was there. And for me, I don't want to do a film where I just have no value to add. But yeah, these films come to me. Then there are other films that I absolutely reject. And I feel like I've been gifted with such a strong gut. And my manager keeps lauding me. She says, you know what, like, let's go with what your gut says. Every time I have said, no, I don't feel right about this. It has worked out for us. And I always believe that there's always something good coming, so there's no point hurrying.
Talk a little about Vikram Vedha, because it was such a cult film. And I think, again, now, because it's being remade, there's so much of a buzz around it. I mean, Vijay Sethupathi and R. Madhavan, can you think of a better cast?
Oh.
Can you think of better co-actors?
Powerhouse performers. I
Amazing.
mean, I lucked out big time
Yeah.
when they considered
Not to take
me.
away anything from your talent, but they are amazing
I mean,
too.
Yeah, I mean, and everything makes a good film, right?
Yeah.
Like, of course, actors and then everything else. But I have to. I mean, they are the sort of pillars of that film. And for me, to be cast alongside these two fantastic actors, and to be given a role where I mean, again, it's such a wonderfully written role.
Yeah.
She's a lawyer. The husband's, also on the same case. They're
Yeah.
both against each other, quarreling at home, but making up. So beautiful. Again, a woman who stands her ground and, says, you want to quit your job, you do it. I'm
Right.
not. So really believes in herself and her worth. I feel like Pushkar and Gayatri really sort of knocked it out of the park with that film. And again, it gave me the belief that, selecting such films pays. It really pays off in the long run. Of course, the movie was watched by a lot of people. It was watched more for Maddie and Vijay Sethupathi.
They're two very different actors, right? What is Vijay like? Maddie is more outgoing, I think. What is Vijay Sethupathi like? We don't hear so much of him outside his movies, and he does so much that, I mean,
Right.
he's all over, but...
Our producer kind of put it so aptly. He said, Maddie is that MBA graduate. He knows everything. He's well versed in all of this acting.
And he speaks
everything.
so well,
Yes.
and he's so charismatic.
Absolutely. Vijay Sethupathi is that backbencher who's naughty, but he knows everything. He's the guy who says, "Oh, I don't know anything about this. I don't know what I'll write in the exam." But he comes out and he aces it. So it's very interesting. Their strengths are so different. One is like a very method actor. The other one is very emotional. So yeah, fantastic.
How is
actors.
it playing off against them, or acting with them? Not playing. You can't play off against them, but acting with them.
I was new to the Tamil industry.
Were you nervous or
I was
intimidated?
overwhelmed because this was really a chance of a lifetime, and I was so new. I think it was my very first or second film in Tamil, and to score such a big film, I knew I had to do this right. I had to get this part so right, because such a very like tricky character.
Yeah,
it
is. Yeah.
I was absolutely very nervous, and I remember the day before the release, Maddie sent me a message. I think he saw the premiere in LA or somewhere, and he sent me a long voice note saying, we're part of a cult film, Shraddha, you should be so proud,
Right.
and this is the path you need to walk on, not dancing around trees, this is your strength. And he's always said that to me, and I really appreciate his advice.
Is there a dialogue that the audience would like to hear from Shraddha from any of her movies? And can she oblige us? Is there anything? Any popular request? Come on, you were talking so much for a little while ago. Is there something you'd like to
It's so
say?
hard to remember, but
And are you fluent in? I mean, how many languages are you fluent in? How does it work? I mean, switching from Telugu to Tamil, must be.
It's my mind is a mess sometimes because
What do you speak at home? Kannada.
We speak Kannada.
Okay.
I also speak very good Hindi because I was an army kid, and English. Tamil, Telugu are two languages that I've had to learn from scratch and really learn. I mean, there are times when I'm on set, like let's say I'm shooting in Chennai, and I keep asking everyone around me, I say, how do you say this in Tamil? How do you say, like I keep cooking up conversations in my head.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, if I have to say this, how will I say it? So I keep practicing it all the time. And in that moment, if someone tells me tomorrow you have to go to Hyderabad and you have to give an interview in Telugu, I say, oh my God, this is
But
torture.
you have to do that.
Yeah, you have to do it.
Yeah.
But I've had to put my heart and soul into learning the language.
Languages.
Languages, yes.
So do you have a coach with you who assists you, or how do you do it?
No, I have not had a coach. For me, it just sort of works well if I translate it into my mother tongue and sort of find the similarities and just
So do you think and dream in Kannada, English, Hindi, which language?
Hindi or English. Yeah.
So that's
that's
many levels of
yeah. I grew
backward
up speaking
thinking you have to
Hindi.
do. Yeah.
Kannada happened to me I mean, it was always like mom and dad would speak Kannada, but
Right.
never really learned it formally. But yeah, these are the languages that I think in. So it's very complicated, really.
So Shraddha, we hear so much about the pan-Indian movie, and of course everyone raves about Pushpa,
Right.
which is wonderful, but it's not very kind to its woman.
Right.
She's a wonderful actress, Rashmika, but the role itself is not exactly a very empowered role. Do you feel that the Telugu industry is less kind to its women than it is to its men, or is that just something we saw in Pushpa? Which was a great film, I enjoyed it, but...
It really depends on what the audience wants to see. The audience want to worship their heroes.
Here,
They want them
for sure.
They want them to be larger than life,
Yeah.
do things that no ordinary human can do.
Unlike Mumbai, I think it's quite different there.
I suppose. I mean, we've believed in hero worship for as long as
Right.
I think it's when the angry young man
Yeah.
era sort of
That's right.
happened, and that from then we've always wanted to see the romantic hero era just sort of made
Vanished
way into
with poor Rajesh Khanna.
Right. So this has been happening forever. Yeah. Whereas women, you want to see them as unattainable,
Yeah.
almost not from this planet, like
Ethereal.
Like your wife may not be as pretty, but your like the heroine on screen has to be unreally beautiful,
Right.
unreal, and people like that. I guess that set of audience they really want to see that.
Yeah.
And that's why they continue to make these films, and they're nailing it for the audience who want to see such films.
And not just nailing it for this audience, now nailing it for the whole of India now.
Yes, absolutely. For
which
a
has
film
got
like
so
that.
used to these films in dubbed languages,
Right,
and now
right,
thinks
right.
that they're so cool.
Right. I mean, we are making progress, but I mean, like they say, Rome was not built in a day.
Yeah.
And progress really varies from industry to industry. Malayalam is doing fantastic when
Yeah.
it comes to female roles. Hugely, though, we're lacking female writers
Yeah.
in our industry. People who are on the table making decisions. Just that sort of, female writers lend that sort of
A different
a
female
little,
gaze,
a little something else that maybe male writers cannot, even if they're writing male characters or be it female characters. Yeah.
I mean, you've got calls from Mumbai, I'm sure, and you've acted in.
I've acted in a Hindi film called
Yes,
Milan Talkies.
Milan Talkies,
I get
right.
a lot of calls for auditions.
Yeah.
And I get rejected all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
What do they tell
There is
you?
so much competition.
Yeah, I know, but exactly what would someone say to you rejecting Shraddha
Oh,
Srinath?
but the funny part is they don't even tell us.
Oh, they'll just.
They don't call back, so it's
Huh.
assumed that they understand that it's not happening. I think a big handicap is that I'm not in the city for them to see me and for me to be there and to be
Do you think
guided
that's
on the spot.
important, what they talk about networking and being seen at the right parties and the right people? Is that important?
I believe it has worked for a lot of people. I believe regardless of, without having done any of that, I have made it work for myself.
Right.
So it does work. It does work. Sometimes I feel your work also speaks for yourself. So it's really what you want to do. Networking is not my forte. I'm very shy. I'm open enough when it comes to telling someone, I really like your work and I would love to work with you.
Have you ever picked up the phone and told a director that?
Yes, several times.
Yeah. Has it resulted in work? Or?
No.
Yeah.
I think it would work in Bombay. I know that that's a very open industry like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Here they're a little reticent.
If they want you, they'll call you.
Yeah.
If they really like what they've seen of you so far, they'll call you. But
Has OTT changed the game for actors such as
oh
you?
yes, it's shaken everyone up.
Yeah.
Now it's not about who's a superstar and like what the numbers you bring in are.
Right.
It's about it's an equal platform, right? Everyone's playing on a level playing field, and there's no more numbers to show off about.
Yeah.
A very small indie film could be doing so well
Yeah.
and could be watched by like scores of people, across the world. Whereas a really big film, how much ever marketing they choose to do, may just be a dud. And I really love that. It really excites me. It also tells actors that they just cannot be comfortable. If you want to survive on OTT, you really need to be worth someone's time.
So when are you going to do that?
I have been really sort of choosy. I know.
I'm sure you've been offered scripts.
Yes. I feel
in
like
Hindi or in
Hindi.
In Hindi.
Yes. In regional languages also. But I feel like there's a lot of noise right now. And if I want to make an entry into OTT, it has to be with a really promising, big kind of project. So I don't want to get lost in the noise. So I'm really sort of waiting it out. But I'm really excited to be part of like a direct to OTT, like an original show from an OTT platform. Yeah.
I think it transforms lives. Look at
Absolutely.
Samantha. I think it has
Absolutely.
just transformed her into a national
Yeah.
star. She was always a big star here,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's really transformed her career.
You know, when you're playing a character in a show on an OTT platform, you have 10 seasons
Yeah.
to constantly sort of prove to the audience in every episode
Yeah.
that you're worth their attention. And you need to sort of really build up that character arc. And it takes so much more than a 2.5-hour film where maybe your screen time is like 45 minutes.
Right.
But in a 10-episode show, it's very easy for someone to lose interest in you and say, yeah, okay, cool, that character I remember, but not so much.
Right.
So you have to work really hard on OTT.
What are the harshest things you've heard? Because that's the one thing about an actor's life that we tend not to look at. It's full of rejection as well, isn't it?
It
Even
is.
when you're successful.
It is, absolutely.
I mean, there's so many levels of rejection, right? What are the harshest things you've heard? I'm sorry to put that question, but
No.
you know, I just want to point out to people who think acting is glamorous, it can be a very, very tough and relentless place. Isn't it?
Rejection is a huge part of it,
Yeah.
but one must not take it personally, obviously. But it's so fragile, right? We are actors constantly putting ourselves out for people to look at us. They give us one scene to audition,
Yeah.
and just be rejected or selected based on that one scene, and to constantly be rejected. That can take a beating on
Of
your
course,
confidence,
yeah.
or just your sort of like, okay, maybe Bombay is not
Right.
made for me.
Yeah.
Social media does not help. I've heard people say like, how did she become a heroine?
Huh.
How does she survive as a heroine? But then that's the thing, like I said, we have conditioned our audience to believe that a heroine has to look like this, right? Fair, long hair, skinny, lovely waist, and all of that, like lovely features. And anyone who does not look that part is suddenly a misfit. Like, how do you even do it? But this is not a beauty pageant, right? We are actors.
There are beauty pageants. That's a different thing.
Yeah, that's a different thing. That requires just like pure good looks. But we're actors. We are here based on our talent, and that's why I'm here. Whatever talent I possess has brought me all the way here. So it's generally the
Too
look.
tall, too thin, not too thin.
Never good enough.
Never good
Absolutely,
I mean,
yeah.
there's so many things. There was one young actress who was telling me that someone actually told her that she has a widow's peak. So, or
Widow's
that her
peak.
eyebrows are too bushy and she needs to shave them. I mean,
Oh,
it can
good
be
God.
relentless.
Yeah.
And she is very successful. But she says rejection is just part of the game.
Yeah.
You have to just,
That's why I don't like Twitter. I just feel like it's like the underbelly of
it's
social
the
media.
worst of us.
Yeah,
I think.
absolutely. It's just people waiting to jump on the other
Yeah.
person.
Are you on Twitter though? You are.
I am on Twitter. I
But
only
you don't
use it.
engage much.
I don't.
Yeah.
Just once in a while. Yeah.
Shraddha, also the other part of being an actor in modern day, in today's times, is being this celebrity, having to put yourself out there, your airport look, your party look, whatever,
Right.
constantly under scrutiny, as you said.
Right.
So how much of that is something that you're willing to trade for the privilege of being an actor?
I don't think I'm part of that game. It takes a lot of effort. I'm a very lazy person. I don't.
We don't believe that. But
I just don't. It's not me to be. I just want to be a, because I strive to play real characters, I
Yeah.
also want to be a real celebrity. And when people see me, let's say in a mall or at a restaurant, I've heard people say, dude, she looks so like ordinary. But I've also heard people say, you're so like us, you're such a
Right.
normal person, I
Right.
almost didn't recognize you.
Yeah.
You don't look like a star. And that's the
what
kind
you
of,
want.
that's what I
That's
want.
the ultimate compliment for you.
Absolutely. And I just want people to know that actors can look like this. They're
Right.
very normal beings as well.
I don't think there's anything normal looking about you. You're quite extraordinary looking, just for the record.
That's very kind
but,
of you.
I don't know what standards people have.
Yeah, exactly. It's and if you try and match up to that, it may sort of take away your peace of mind, because it's endless, right? There's paparazzi, there's like you said, airport looks, and just kind of events, and
Who
just
you're dating, not dating, there's that as
where
well,
you're
isn't
at, which restaurant you're going to. Of course, that's a more Bombay thing. I feel
Yeah.
in the South they're much more. They're
little-
kinder.
They don't intrude so much into your privacy,
They don't.
right?
They
let
don't.
you be.
Yeah. Then, I mean, even if you're seen in public, though, you're expected to look a certain way. I met a girl at the airport and she repeated thrice, "You're so normal, you're so normal." And she almost couldn't believe it. I said, "Yeah, I like to merge with the crowd." I said, "I just don't want any attention. I just want to board my flight and get to my destination." So.
And Shraddha, is also this physicality, as we were talking about, that's also changed over the years, though. And I think that's for the good. The women have become more athletic rather than, that whole idea that we had
Right.
of this Rubenesque figure and all that.
Right.
Is that a good thing, or do you think there's far too much attention on the body in any case?
There is far too much attention on
Yeah.
the body, especially for women. I don't see this obsession with the other gender.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I wouldn't mind some of that extra love handles like they had back
But
in the
they
day.
won't allow you to
No,
do
it's
that.
not
No
happening
way.
anymore. No way. You're going to be kicked out the minute you step in.
Right.
There's no excuses anymore. I guess it does sort of keep us on our toes. You stay fit, you eat healthy, which is good for you in the
Yeah.
long run. Sometimes it can get overboard, and people might just not feel good enough about themselves because they don't look like another actress. You see their social media like, how does this actress look so good? What am I not doing right? Oh, I need to skip a meal. I need to try intermittent fasting. So you do a dozen things, and it can sort of ruin your relationship with food or exercise, and really sort of play on your mind.
Yeah, mental health is a large part of being mentally healthy, is a large part of being
Yes.
in the public eye in any case, isn't it?
Absolutely.
So how do you take care of your mental health?
For me, I just really shut down the minute I leave sets. The minute I go back home to my family, I am who I am, daughter of Rama and Colonel Srinath, and aunt to my niece, sister to my older sister, and just that's it. And I just feel so good, loved, and comfortable and safe and accepted for who I am. I'm so free, and I make jokes. So yeah, for me, it's important for me to go back to the people. I go meet my theatre friends, people who've known me for so long,
Right.
things like that. That's just how I stay sane. I don't take my industry too seriously. I don't think it's the be all and end all of everything. I will continue to be an actor till I'm 60. I know this. I will make this happen. But yeah, it's not what defines me, really.
So what next from you, Shraddha? What do we see from you next?
I have a fantastic Telugu film, female-led. That's me, No Hero, which is very rare for Telugu films. I'm really excited about that.
What's it called?
It's got a very long title. Siddha Lokamella Undi Naina. It's a very long title. There's 3 films in Tamil. There's 3 films in Tamil. Again, 2 of them are female-led.
Wow.
One talks about the atrocities to the lower caste, which is something that I feel about very passionately. The other is a sci-fi project. I'm really thrilled to be alive right now in this moment with OTT and strong roles being written for women. So yes.
Wonderful. It was so wonderful talking to you, and I wish you all the best.
Thank
We
you,
hope to
Kaveri,
see
ma'am. It's my honor.
so much more of you.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.